Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another What's Next on Basketball podcast, episode 11. So, in today's, before I start that off, hello everybody, how you're all doing. As I said before, I'm your host, as always, Jeremy, and we are here with another amazing episode to give you guys. And, like I said, I hope you're all doing good. It's a nice day today where I'm at. The sun's shining. It's all nice. I'm feeling incredible right now. Had a good night's rest because I was going to do this last night, but I was so tired and I was like, man, I really don't want to give you guys a video where I just sound super sleepy. So I was like, all right, I'll wait till the next morning. And, well, now we're here. And we have a couple of news to talk about with you guys. As you guys know, I haven't been, made an episode in, I want to say, 2 weeks now. It's probably been like 2 weeks. Again, it's just, as I've mentioned before, it's just, that time where there's not really that much news to talk about. And since, obviously, as I also mentioned, it isn't like I'm not like working on this thing at all. I'm still doing the YouTube side, which has been really cool. Honestly, I've been making a lot of videos there. My quote unquote first YouTube video, I'll say like official YouTube video, is almost complete. It might be done by the time you guys are listening to this. I wouldn't count on it, but if not when you're listening to this, maybe at least by the end of this week it should be done. We're getting like real close to it, so hopefully it's done. I've been working really hard on it, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. I think I mentioned it before what it was, but if not, I just won't say anything to let you guys be surprised about it. But yeah, it's been, as I always say before, it's just a lot of fun doing this podcast. And let's, I'm rambling on again, guys. You guys already know. Let's just get started with the news. Let's see what's next in the basketball world. So, we'll start off with the news that most of you are probably familiar with by now, and at this point are probably getting tired of hearing it. It is the James Harden situation. That's right. We are going to be talking about more updated information about it. So, last time we talked about it, I had mentioned how apparently James Harden had come out and basically did a little speech during his little China trip where I didn't say exactly what it was. I just told you guys how I was really unhappy. But I looked back into it again, and just to let you guys know, he basically came out. This isn't the exact words, but he came out and said, hey, basically telling everybody that he will not work in an organization that Daryl Morey is in. I think that's how you say his name. And then he repeated again saying how Daryl Morey was a liar and he will not work in an organization that he's a part of. And this came out of completely nowhere. This was just so random, and then he just went on with his day like nothing happened. It was so weird. But yeah, he did that, and we were all like, what does he mean by this? Why is he saying that they're lying? And I think I'm saying it right. Afterwards, it was maybe a day or two later, the NBA launches an inquiry. I think that's how you pronounce the word, which into the whole James Harden situation, trying to see what the heck's going on? Because now James Harden's trying to say that Daryl Morey's a liar, and we were all wondering, what is he lying about? So I did some searching, figuring out exactly what he could mean. Now, I'm looking through all of this. Everyone's, saying the same thing of, oh, this is, potentially... Oh, if you guys hear outside, I apologize. Something crazy is going on outside. I hear, a lot of noise out there. Sorry, that just distracted me, but back to what I was saying. So... from what the sources that I have found have all said that the reason why James Harden called Daryl Morey a liar was because apparently he was promised a trade, which is why I guess James Harden went into his his last year with the 76ers, and they did a trade. And unfortunately, they just couldn't find a good trade. It seemed like the only ones that were interested out there was the Clippers. But the Clippers weren't offering, anything good in return. Even the Clippers weren't, this wasn't, their number one thing to get. They were just they were just playing with it, trying to see, let's see if this is actually, worth looking at. And yeah, the Sixers just didn't find whatever the trade was very interesting. I don't know if they ever came out and announced what it was, but all we know is that they didn't accept it. Then Daryl Morey, I think it was Daryl Morey. Was it Daryl Morey? Well, someone in the organization then came out and was like, "Hey, we're no longer doing a trade for James Harden. So we would like to keep him here, and hopefully we can work things out." And obviously, James Harden was not very happy hearing this news because he wanted to get traded. But the problem was that nobody wanted him. So with that situation happening, the 76ers were like, okay, well, we're not going to trade you for like some awful stuff in return, which makes sense. Like, I don't know how true it is with Daryl Morey, if he really is just like being awful and not keeping his like end of the bargain, which if he is, then that's kind of messed up. I know there's like certain rules with that where if I'm correct, he can't really be promising stuff like that, from what I heard from like sources. So Daryl Morey might get in trouble if that's the case. And that was the thing too. James Harden got fined. Oh, excuse me, I have the hiccups. James Harden got fined for like saying all that. And people, myself included, were pretty upset about that because we didn't think that was very necessary for him to be getting fined for like just saying, something like that. Of course, they said the reason why they fined him was because it was against the rules of like doing stuff like that in public. Like they can't be talking about things like that to the public. It's just against the rules, which, okay, that's understandable, but still, come on. That just seems a little extra. He clearly is upset. And if you see that he's upset, then, you gotta talk to him about this. You can't just be like, oh, we gotta fine you. That's just gonna make him more frustrated and not really gonna want to discuss things with you guys. And again, I was honestly surprised, though, like when they did do the trades, that the Clippers were the only ones interested. I talked about it before, and how I mentioned, like, hey, he's not at that level where he's gonna get, like, a crazy, crazy contract, because that was what happened. He was hoping, like, maybe someone would give him, like, a max or something, and that wasn't the case. And, no one really, like I said, no one really wanted him, and that was kind of weird to me. But on the other hand, as I said before, it was like, well, he's not like at the top of his level. Again, Harden isn't like a bad player. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh yeah, he's just not good. Like, no, James Harden is still a fairly like good player. Obviously, he's not at the what would the right word be? I guess like peak of his performance, but still, it's like, we look here, let me bring it up right now. James Harden has... Where is Harden? Oh, here he is. James Harden last season averaged 21 points, 6 rebounds, 11 assists, or 10.7 if you want to be exact, and his field goal percentage was 44. So, that's honestly not bad. Like, that's still pretty good compared to most players currently in the league. Heck, that's better than RJ Barrett right now, and that's not really much of a big difference, but still, it's like he's still scoring more points than most people in the league, and anyone that gets him, at least you got a good piece there that's like an easy 20 points a night. Oh, here it was $100,000 that he was fined, by the way. For those that are wondering, it was $100,000. I just looked it up as well, because I didn't remember the number, and I didn't want to give you guys the wrong number, but I just looked it up, and that's how much he got fined, which was why everyone was really upset, because they were like, why would you find him? But anyway, yeah, he's a good player, so I was a little shocked as to like him not getting really anything. Like, no one really was interested in him, and that was kind of weird. But now looking more into it, yeah, like I said, now they're doing the inquiry, and basically the NBA is going to investigate to see what the heck's going on, and if they find anything that's kind of like, that helps James Harden's situation, I believe it said that they'll like take down the fine and all that, and he won't actually get in trouble. It will be more like Daryl Morey that gets in trouble. Again, we've been talking about this for already, I think, a month now, and it's just kind of crazy of how the situation's developing. I'm just more concerned on how this season's going to go, because clearly they're not going to trade Harden, and I don't know how that, I don't know how the 76ers will deal with that. I mean, obviously there was a report that came out like 2 or 3 days ago where Tyrese Maxey said this isn't our first rodeo when it came to the James Harden situation. I wonder what he's referring to. And I'm just nervous. Like, I told you guys before, I do still think the 76ers are a championship team. And if this situation, really affects Harden, then that's going to be a problem for them being a championship team. And obviously that's good for maybe other teams, because then that'll give them a chance to get a higher spot since the Sixers won't play as good. But again, this is going to be a problem to the fans, because now it's another year where you're not going to see a chip throughout this quote-unquote process era. And I think the biggest thing that people should be concerned is Joel Embiid. I talked about it before. I literally made an episode for the podcast discussing about it. Joel Embiid might leave the 76ers. I predicted that if they don't do something this year, that he'll leave the following summer. And it really looks like that's the case. Obviously, we talked about before, one of the high candidates is the New York Knicks, who have the most interest in, getting Joel Embiid. And obviously, there's other teams too, but again, it's just like there are teams that are interested in getting Joel. And again, I have my own opinions on Joel, but you can't deny that he is a top player. And a lot of teams are going to want him. So I'm really nervous for the 76ers because he is going to want to ask a trade, especially with today's era of superstars. If they're not happy with their situation, they'll just leave. And even more recently, a lot of those stars will sign a big contract and then just leave. Like, it's that time in the NBA where you just sign a contract and then you figure it out later. You can figure out your situation later, figure out if you want to still be here. You do all that later. Just get the money and then go home. And I don't know how it's gonna look, because it's just a disaster right now when it comes to the 76ers organization as a whole. Again, I know it's probably difficult for the 76ers because this is just a situation that really nobody wants to be in. And Daryl Morey obviously has been in a situation before with Ben Simmons, so he knows how to handle the situation. I don't know how nervous would that be the right word? I guess nervous he would be, or he is. I don't know, it's a crazy situation, man. I hope they figure out something, because clearly James Harden doesn't want to play there. I wouldn't be surprised if James Harden purposely, is that the right word? Basically, I wouldn't be surprised if he just does bad on purpose, is what I'm trying to say. And it's just kind of frustrating, as like I'm sure it's just frustrating for the 76ers fans, because you have been waiting so long for a championship, and all you've gotten throughout these years is just second round exits and just, drama happening. Yeah, that's really it so far when it comes to the James Harden update. So hopefully they figure out something soon. Now, the next thing we'll talk about is actually about the Lakers. So recently, Kobe Bryant's wife, or I don't know if it's appropriate to call it a widow, so I'll just say wife. Kobe Bryant's wife, I think it's Vanessa Bryant. Yeah, she had come out and basically announced that the Lakers will be making a statue for Kobe Bryant for the new arena that outside of the crypto.com arena. Obviously fans and many people in the NBA were hoping that they do something like that for Kobe, and they did exactly that. So the statue unveiling will take place on February 8th, 2024. Obviously, they did this to, honor Kobe Bryant when it came to the two jerseys he wore as AKA number 8 and number 24. So that's pretty cool. Definitely go check that out on February 8th if you were a big Kobe Bryant fan. That's just awesome to see that they're doing that. Well deserved. I'm just happy the Lakers are, at least doing stuff like that to really appreciate Kobe, because they know how much he means to the fan base and the NBA fan base as a whole. And, it's just nice. It well deserved. Now, moving on from that was just all I had to say about the Lakers. But moving on from that, we will be talking about the Bucks now. So, for those that have not heard about the situation going on with the Milwaukee Bucks, there was a report that came out recently about Giannis Antetokounmpo and, him basically being eligible for an extension to his contract. But apparently, the news is that he doesn't plan on signing the extension anytime soon. And this obviously caught... Geez, sorry about that. I had a hiccup. But this caught the NBA fan base, off guard. And they just, they were like, oh my God, like, what does he mean by not re-signing? Why would he not re-sign with Milwaukee? Like, this has been his team. Why would he not want to be here? And he basically explained as to why he didn't do it. Basically, it was like, he thinks it would, this isn't like his exact thing he said, I'm just summing it up. He basically said that next summer would make, like, more sense for both him and the organization as to, like, discussing extension contracts. But even then, he doesn't even know if he would sign it. This one is like what exactly he said, and I quote from Giannis: "I would not be the best version of myself if I don't know that everybody's on the same page. Everybody's going for a championship. Everybody's going to sacrifice time away from their family like I do. And I don't feel that. I'm not, and if I don't feel that, I'm not signing." So again, he's just saying that, to basically sum it up, if you don't understand what he's trying to say, he basically said, like, he doesn't want to sign with the team if he feels like they're not going for a championship. It's that simple. And if he, as he said, if he feels like, if he looks at the team and thinks that they're not trying hard enough to go for a championship, like, he just feels like all they're trying to do is make the playoffs and then, that's it. They're not trying to make a championship team. He doesn't want to resign, because why would he resign? He's not here to just, like, play basketball and that's it. No, Giannis wants to win championships. And especially for Giannis, since he has already tasted what, championship gold, what it is and what it tastes like, he's definitely going to want another one. So clearly, like, he's not going to sit here, like, I think one of the best examples was, like, because a lot of people compare him to, like, Shaq. Like, Shaq always says, like, Giannis is, like, the modern day version of him. Shaq, when he won a chip, we all know that, like, he automatically was just like, oh, that's cool, I won. Like, he just didn't care anymore because he won a ring. He's not going to do that. He wants to win more championships and win as many as possible because he wants, like, many, not even many, like, everyone in the NBA, they want to all go down as one of, if not the best player in the league. So, obviously, this is completely understandable. I know there's fans that are worried about that. Some feel like it just doesn't make sense to him. But I'm on Giannis' side. I don't want to be on the team either. Like, if I'm over here trying to be a championship contender, and my organization that I'm in is like, oh, actually, we're going to do a rebuild for the next, like, 5 years, I'm going to be like, no, then I don't want to be here. Like, I'm not here to see more young guys getting built. I'm not getting any younger myself. I want to win championships for as long as my peak will last. So that's completely understandable. I definitely expect a video in the future. I'm going to try to make it in the next, like, week or two, where I discuss about Giannis and, what teams I think he should go to. I was thinking about discussing it on here, but I think it'd be a lot more fun of just making a separate video for it. Just because, it'll just be interesting. Now, I don't know exactly which teams he would go to, because from what I understand, they're just asking for an extension, so that means he's not going to get traded. He'll just be a free agent, if I'm not mistaken on that, unless they decide to trade him. But I'm just going to go with the fact that he'll be a free agent. So, clearly, every team's going to want to, like, go for him, obviously. Like, that's a no-brainer. But I'm probably going to only discuss about, like, the teams I think he most likely will go to. I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, he's going to go to the Magic. Like, no. Giannis isn't going to the Magic. That doesn't make any sense. It's, it's one of those things. But again, yeah, it's definitely have gotten NBA fans concerned, and now I think one of the big things is like Miami Heat, because I know there was like a few, what was it, like a year or two ago, whenever Giannis got his new contract with the the Milwaukee Bucks, there were rumors that the Miami Heat, that's what I was trying to say, there were rumors that the Miami Heat were interested in signing him. Of course, he didn't sign with the Heat, and I wonder if maybe they would want to get him now that the Damian Lillard situation is not going as planned, we'll say. So, yeah, well, I guess I would definitely keep you guys more updated on the situation there, but that's really all we got when it comes to the Giannis stuff. And let's see, the last thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is actually the in-season tournament. I said it before a few times here of the in-season tournament and like what they're doing, how it works, but I wanted to give you guys a full summary, a full breakdown of exactly how the season will work and really what to expect. So, the NBA a few days ago posted on their page the whole thing. As I said, the summary, all the brackets, all the groups, and everything. So, we'll start off the summary. All right. So, basically, the in-season tournament is going to tip off Friday, November 3rd, and it will go all the way with the championship happening on Saturday, December 9th. The semifinals will take place December 7th, and also the championship game will be at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. The way this in-season tournament will work is that there's two stages. There's the there's the group play, and then there's the knockout rounds. First will be the group plays. As for what the group plays are, this will be all 30 teams. They've all been randomly drawn into 5 groups. I will talk about the group play in a minute, but just know that if you don't know, they were all randomly selected to be in a group. The way that this was determined was by the team's win-loss record from the 2022-2023 regular season. And again, as mentioned, the group play games will begin November 3rd, and they will continue all the way to November 28th, which then means each team... Oh, sorry, I skipped one. My apologies. Each team will play 4 designated group play games, which will be called tournament nights. 1 game against each opponent in its group, with 2 games at home and 2 on the road. And yeah, that's how it's gonna go. So each group each team that's in their group, they're gonna play. So they're not gonna play against, like, if let's say the Knicks and Clippers, right? They will not play against each other because they are not in the same group. So if they do, well, obviously they're going to play against each other in the regular season, but just know, like, that doesn't count as the in-season tournament. Like, that doesn't matter. And obviously after all the group play, when they do all the matches, we then head into the second stage, which is the knockout rounds. How this will work is that 8 teams will advance to the knockout round. The team with the best standing in group play games in each of the 6 groups, and there will also be 2 wild cards. These are the teams from each conference with the best record in group play games that finished second in each group. The knockout rounds will be single elimination games in the quarterfinals. These games will be played Monday, December 4th, all the way to Tuesday, December 5th. And then, let's see, does that include... sorry, let me make sure. And then obviously you have the semifinals then, which would be December 7th, and then the championship game, which is December 9th. And that's the whole tournament. So it starts in November, early. It'll start in the beginning of Jesus, I cannot talk. It will start in the beginning of November, and it will end the beginning of December. And yeah, that's basically how it will go. As for the games themselves, all the games except for the championship game will count as your regular season record. I talked about it before. I don't know why they don't count the championship game. I think that's kind of just kind of weird, honestly. It doesn't make much sense to me, but hey, that's how they want to do it. So, as for all the games, I guess it's 67 games in total. They're saying, it'll count towards the regular season. I know, like, one of the things they mentioned was that some teams might play one or two more games than others, which is kind of weird. There's that. Now let's move on to the groups. So, the groups were announced, and here's how it looks. So, we'll start off with the West Conference. Each conference has 3 groups from A, B, and C. Or as they put it, West A, West B, West C, East A, East B, East C. That's kind of how they named the groups. We'll start off with the Western Conference. West A has the Memphis Grizzlies, the Phoenix Suns, the LA Lakers, the Utah Jazz, and the Portland Trailblazers. West Group B has the Denver Nuggets, the LA Clippers, the New Orleans Pelicans, the Dallas Mavericks, and the Houston Rockets. The West Group C has the Sacramento Kings, the Golden State Warriors, the Minnesota Timberwolves, Oklahoma City Thunder, and the San Antonio Spurs. Now we move on to the Eastern Conference. They have, for East Group A, it will be the Philadelphia 76ers, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Atlanta Hawks, the Indiana Pacers, and the Detroit Pistons. East Group B will have the Milwaukee Bucks, the New York Knicks, the Miami Heat, the Washington Wizards, and Charlotte Hornets. And then finally, East Group C will have the Boston Celtics, Brooklyn Nets, Toronto Raptors, Chicago Bulls, and the Orlando Magic. Now, those are the groups, which means those are what the teams will be playing. Some of them are obviously easier than others. The biggest one that people noticed was East Group C, which is basically going to be the Celtics because they'll face off against the Nets, Raptors, Bulls, and Magic, which is completely unfair, but whatever. I guess they're just going to have an easy run through the in-season tournament. Let's see. I know, what do they win exactly? I always get confused by that as exactly like what they're even winning, like what they're competing for. I know they're competing for like this championship trophy. Oh, it's also a tournament prize pool. Cool. I guess more money for them. I don't know. I talked about it for you guys already in a previous episode on the podcast. I'm gonna give it a chance, I'm gonna let them cook. I'm gonna see what this tournament's about because I am a big fan of tournaments. So I'm not completely against the idea. It's more of like, why would they want to compete in this? Like, they're like, oh, well, they're winning a trophy. It's gonna be really cool. And I'm like, okay, I get that, but this isn't like, no one's really gonna care about this trophy. This isn't like the playoffs where it's like where it really matters. Obviously, they want like people to make it like that, where like it matters and people want to see it. But that's not gonna. Let's say they keep it for a really, really long time, which I expect the NBA to do. It's not gonna be till like years later when people maybe even give it like somewhat of a chance and like really care about the trophy. For this first year, like don't expect like every player to go all out. The only ones I expect would be like any of the teams that like for sure they know they're not winning the NBA playoffs. So they might go try hard for this. I know it's gonna be fun. I'm definitely gonna watch the games, obviously, and give you guys my opinion on how I feel about it. I don't want to like completely bash it right now. I know I did in like the earlier episodes, but I'm gonna take back what I said, and I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna let them cook. I'm gonna see how it is, and if I do enjoy it, then I'll be like, okay, this is a really good, fun idea, because they did the play-in tournament, and at first everybody thought it was trash. I was the only one that thought it was great, looking at it from a business perspective, because that's more money that you'll be getting, and this is just another situation where they're gonna get more money, and I know this is like a big deal they want to do for like the casual fans to hopefully get, like more numbers in, and that too. They did say that all of the games that for that tournament will be like nationally televised. So in case you feel like, oh man, I'm not gonna be able to see it, don't worry. It will be somewhere broadcast on your TV if you're interested in seeing it. But yeah, that's all I really have to say for the in-season tournament. Seems like a fun idea. I'll watch it. I'll give you guys my opinion. After seeing it for like the first time, if I feel like, yeah, this ain't it, I'll just say it. Like, this is not it. This isn't fun. But yeah, that's let me see here. Yeah, now that's basically all I have to talk about in today's episode. I told you guys before, with it being August and nothing cool happening, to be quite honest with you guys, these episodes are going to be very short compared to my previous beginning episodes that were like an hour long. So maybe this is nice for you guys because you don't have to sit here for an hour, myself included, because it's fun talking, but man, sitting here for an hour sometimes can be a lot. But again, it's something I'm talking about and I'm enjoying. And I think, yeah, that's all I really want to say. If you made it this far in the episode, if you want, please share it with anyone. It really helps a lot when you share the episode. Make sure to go follow all my socials. Obviously, follow the Spotify, follow me on Instagram, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. The links for the Instagram and YouTube should be in the description for the Spotify. Or if you're listening to this on the YouTube channel, which I have it on there as well, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, again, share it with anybody that you know. And if you want to look for the Spotify and Instagram, that will also be in the description for the YouTube channel. And then, of course, when you're on my Instagram, which I don't post these on Instagram, but if you do find my Instagram, the links will be there as well for the Spotify and the YouTube channel. If you want another place to find all my stuff and my content. And yeah, this was episode 11 of the What's Next on Basketball podcast. And this is your host, Jeremy, signing off. Until next time, everyone.